What began as whispers of misconduct has grown into a full-scale scandal, raising troubling questions about the integrity and leadership of one of Christian broadcasting's most influential figures, Joni Lamb. Allegations of financial secrecy, the silencing of whistleblowers, intimidation tactics, and even mishandling of child abuse claims have left the credibility of Daystar television network under intense scrutiny. As more voices come forward, a pattern of secrecy, control, and retaliation seems to be emerging, a pattern that stands in direct opposition to the Christian values the organization claims to uphold. At the heart of the controversy is a critical question. Why is a ministry that preaches transparency and faith resorting to tactics more commonly associated with corporate cover-ups and political scandals? If there is nothing to hide, why are employees, whistleblowers, and even members of Joni Lamb's own family reportedly being silenced, threatened, or cast out? This is not just an internal dispute. It is a crisis of faith for Daystar's viewers, donors, and followers who deserve answers. One of the most alarming revelations in this controversy is Daystar's extensive use of non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, legal contracts that prohibit employees and former associates from speaking publicly about their experiences within the organization. While NDAs are standard in many industries to protect proprietary information, their application within a faith-based ministry is highly questionable. Joni Lamb has defended these agreements, claiming they are necessary to safeguard sensitive business matters. However, critics argue that these NDAs go well beyond protecting trade secrets. Reports suggest that many former employees, including those with knowledge of potential financial mismanagement and ethical violations, have been forced into silence under threat of legal action. If Daystar is committed to truth and accountability, why the aggressive legal protections? Why not allow former employees to speak freely about their experiences? NDAs, when used inappropriately, create a culture of fear and suppression, one where those with concerns or ethical objections have no recourse other than to remain silent or face financial and legal repercussions. This is particularly troubling in a Christian ministry, where openness, honesty, and transparency should be fundamental principles. Beyond NDAs, there are multiple reports of legal threats being used as intimidation tactics. Journalists, YouTubers, and former employees who have spoken out against Daystar have allegedly received cease and desist letters, warning them of impending lawsuits if they do not retract their statements. These intimidation tactics are deeply concerning, as they suggest that Daystar's leadership is more focused on silencing criticism than addressing the root issues. Such aggressive legal responses are not only unbiblical, but also unwise. In the digital age, the more an organization attempts to suppress information, the more the public becomes curious about what is being hidden. Daystar's continued use of legal threats raises an important question. If these allegations are baseless, why not address them openly and transparently instead of resorting to intimidation? A Christian ministry should be a beacon of accountability, humility, and repentance, not an institution that weaponizes lawsuits to avoid scrutiny. Instead of responding with threats, Daystar should welcome an open dialogue and an independent review of the allegations. One of the most troubling aspects of Joni Lamb's response to the allegations is a consistent pattern of DARVO, deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. This psychological tactic is often used by individuals or organizations facing serious accusations. Instead of addressing the allegations directly, they deny any wrongdoing outright, attack the credibility of accusers, journalists, and whistleblowers, reverse the roles by portraying themselves as the real victims of persecution and smear campaigns. This has been evident in interviews where Joni Lamb dismisses critics as low-level bloggers with an agenda instead of engaging with the substance of their claims. She has characterized those who speak out as liars, bitter former employees, or individuals with malicious intent. But here's the issue. When multiple unrelated individuals come forward with similar claims, it becomes increasingly difficult to write them off as mere disgruntled employees. Instead of discrediting whistleblowers, Daystar should be taking a hard look at its own leadership structure and ethical practices. One of the most shocking developments in this controversy is the firing of Joni Lamb's own son, Jonathan Lamb, who previously served as Daystar's vice president. According to multiple sources, Jonathan and his wife, Susie, raised concerns about potential child abuse within the organization. Shortly after voicing these concerns, Jonathan was terminated. Daystar claims the firing was due to performance issues, but the timing has raised serious doubts about that explanation. Was Jonathan Lamb's termination an act of retaliation for speaking out against misconduct? If so, this would be a devastating ethical and moral failure on Daystar's part. Retaliation against whistleblowers is a hallmark of corrupt institutions, not Christian ministries. If Daystar truly had nothing to hide, why was Jonathan let go under such suspicious circumstances? Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of this entire controversy is the alleged mishandling of child abuse claims within Daystar. According to whistleblowers, despite assurances that an internal investigation was conducted, critical witnesses were never interviewed, and key details were reportedly ignored. When allegations of abuse arise, particularly within a faith-based organization that serves families, transparency and urgency should be the absolute priority. Yet, instead of full disclosure, there appears to be a concerted effort to downplay and suppress these claims. The lack of a thorough, independent investigation raises a number of urgent questions. Who conducted the so-called internal review? Were all relevant parties interviewed? Why haven't the findings been made public? Failure to address such allegations appropriately isn't just a public relations issue. It is a profound moral failure that betrays the trust of those who have supported Daystar for years. At this point, the only way to restore credibility is through a fully independent investigation conducted by an external party with no ties to Daystar. A thorough, transparent review would investigate all allegations in detail, interview whistleblowers, former employees, and those affected, present clear findings, free from internal bias. If Joni Lamb and Daystar have nothing to hide, they should welcome such an investigation rather than resist it. Opposition to transparency will only deepen suspicions and further erode public trust. The Bible teaches that light exposes darkness, Ephesians 5, verse 13. If Daystar truly stands on the side of truth, it must be willing to let the light in. Accountability isn't an option, it's a necessity.